of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Your host. Believe it or not, during the day I have a day job, and I'm affectionately known as the Medicare lady. But every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m., I become your host for Tampa Bay Politics and talk to the people who you may not get a chance to talk to, but who affect your life greatly. And today, we are so graced to have in our presence one of our city councilmen, Mr. Gudes, Orlando Gudes. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I love the music.
Mr. Gudes. All right. Well, you know what? Whoever comes and sits in the hot seat, the first thing we ask them is, where were you born? How'd you get started in life?
Well, it's easy for me. I was born right here in Tampa, Florida. Born and raised. Went to local public high schools here at Tampa Bay, Texas, where I graduated from. Went on to college down at Florida Memorial. Then left there with the Bethune-Cookman College.
Bethune-Cookman, what you major in over there?
Business administration. I always wanted to I loved Cookman. I always wanted to go there, but I had an opportunity to go to
Historical Black College.
To play some baseball. It didn't work out there, so I left.
So you were an athlete?
Oh, yeah. So I left there, and then it changed my life being at a predominantly black school. You really learn how to hustle and how to be independent because you got to make it. My family didn't have a lot, so I had to work. I had to make it. And
what did your parents do?
My dad was a truck driver.
Okay.
My mom went to Tampa General Hospital. And I had other siblings too. So we had a big family. So
how many of you?
It's a total of 5 of us.
Okay.
5 of us. So I learned a lot being away from home. And then when my mother got a little sick. And my great aunt, who kind of raised us as well, she passed away, so I had to come back home. And so
your mother or your great aunt?
My great aunt.
Okay.
Who kind of raised me and my mom. So I came back home, and everybody wasn't doing well, so I said I'm gonna take a semester off. So while I was taking that semester off at Cookman, I got a job at Tampa General Hospital.
Okay.
And I was a good guy over in Daytona at Halifax Medical Center when I was doing a lot of orthopedic work with a lot of the doctors. So I said, well, I'll just get a quick little job because I had the experience of orthopedics. And then one day I was just sitting at the nurse's station debating what I was going to do. And Sandy Freeman came on the TV monitor saying that she was going to be hiring 101 minority officers.
Really?
So I kept looking at what the salary was. I said, well, is this something I want to do? So one day I just left the nurse's station. After seeing it a couple times, went down to Old City Hall, filled out an application, and was chosen to be a police officer in the city of Tampa.
Wow. What year was that?
That was back in 89.
1989. Yeah. That's the year I came to Tampa from
89, 90, yeah.
New York.
Because it takes a while through the process. So 89, 90.
Okay.
Got sworn in. Doing police work during that time. I finished my educational career. Went to St. Louis University. It was St. Leo College at that time. Finished out, got a degree in
St. Leo University is a great school and is my son's alma mater.
So I got a degree from there, then went on to get a master's degree from National Louis University.
Okay.
And that worked out well for me because it gave open some other opportunities business-wise for me, some things we were doing with my family, with my brother, with our funeral home business, which is at 42nd Hillsborough Avenue, Gudes Funeral Home. And, it just...
So that funeral home with the name Gudes on it belongs to your family.
That's correct. That is
All
correct.
right, then.
So, what I tell people, I've been blessed. If I left this world today, I can say God gave me everything I asked for.
Wow.
I can truly say that, as you know, I ran for office.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your work as a police officer. We don't want to skip over that. How many years did you spend there?
26 years.
26 years. That's impressive.
So I think everybody knew me in every community, I would say. I was doing a lot of coaching with PAL at the time, a lot of youth programs where I was a police officer.
What does PAL stand for?
Police Athletic League.
Okay.
So, it gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of people, to understand culture of people,
okay,
to understand people in general from all walks of life. So I think that was a good blessing, again, to be able to deal with people and have compassion for people. Everybody's different, and you have to be able to work with everybody to get an understanding of them.
Of course, the police are big in the news right now. How do you feel about what police have to deal with every day?
Well, I think you have to look at the dynamics of policing. I look at culture, and I say it all the time in my other job on Thursdays. I've talked about it before. To be a police officer, you need to understand people and understand cultures of people.
Right.
You can't live in a place like Avila all your life and never have interacted with other people, and then you get thrown into an area that you've always been told has been bad or have bad people.
Right.
And then
because a lot of times the officers are just plain scared.
Goes to my next point. I say fear.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
the fear factor.
The fear factor. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone has a fear. I don't care who you are. You have a fear. But a lot of times, when you're dealing with police, a lot of times they haven't interacted with people, especially black and brown people. And when you look at, I always use the analogy of Hispanic people. Hispanic people talk with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And some folks might think they're being aggressive, but they're not aggressive. That's just the way they communicate.
Right.
So I think learning how to understand culture, and I tell people with the police department, it has to be with inside the house. We have to change the culture inside the house to be able to help outside. I think that's a big part of policing, is understanding culture and getting that fear factor out of some officers.
And the thing is, a lot of officers, white, Caucasian, they only deal with the low element. They don't deal with black people who are professional. Every time they approach a black person, hey, this could be a criminal, this could be a drug dealer, this could be, I got to have my guns drawn, and I got to get ready for action. This is a black person.
Again, it's culture.
Yes. So they treat all black people the same, unfortunately.
And I tell people, I said, even as a police officer, I've been pulled over, and then when I identify, I say some buzzwords, it's like the attitude kind of changes. He's not a regular black guy per se. He's in a different category. So now I back off and let me ask a little kind of different questions now. And that's happened. I mean, it's happened to, I know a lot of other public officials. I know other police commanders that's happened to them too. It's just, it's a nature that you've got to change. And I'm hoping that with a lot of things that are happening, that and with the federal government stepping in, the new attorney general, hopefully we can start getting these cultural changes within the departments to be better police agencies.
Well, we do have an attorney general who's going to be working on some of these agencies. So far, Tampa's not on the list. How do you feel about the Tampa Police Department?
I think overall we have a good police department, but a person who's been inside the house, there are some challenges.
Okay.
I hear things all day from other officers. There's still some issues that we need to fix up within the department. Again, I talk about culture. Culture is still an issue that you have to address within. I hear it all the time. And again, community policing is the best method of doing that. And we have to have a better mechanism of doing that. So, we have a good department. I've never taken anything away from them, but I still know in reality, a person who's been in the house, we still have some challenges that we've got to overcome.
Now, do you feel that enough minorities are coming into the department?
No. I've addressed that a couple of times at council in reference to that. We've got to go places we haven't gone before. We just can't, and I use this now, we just can't say, well, we've gone to FAMU. Yeah, FAMU's a great school. I'm a Bethune-Cookman guy. I'm a Wildcat. So there are other schools, and we may have to look at going outside the state to some of these other schools, some of these athletes who are not going to be making it professionally. Target some of these people too. Then again, you always look at the background or polygraph situation. I hear people fail out. We having some discussions about that as well, because a lot of people say they fail out because of the polygraph, and trying to figure out why is that. I have my own perception of why is that, but I'm going to wait and see what.
So every officer has to take a polygraph?
Absolutely.
Oh,
background check and polygraph.
Okay.
And so, it's kind of hard to find a black male who hasn't been around marijuana, who hasn't, may have puffed or just some other things, or may have gotten a traffic ticket. And I've had this discussion with the mayor as well, who may have gotten a traffic ticket, or a couple.
Would a traffic ticket not get?
Yeah. They say it's a high liability area. If you had some traffic tickets, 2 or 3 traffic tickets that knocks you out the back, I don't think that should exclude you. I know some police officers myself. When I was running out of town, I got a traffic ticket.
Okay.
So it's a human nature. Some people do get a traffic ticket. I don't think that should exclude you. That being a character person Okay, you sped. I mean, it happens. I mean, we get lead foot sometimes, and it happens. I can see if you some reckless driving.
There's
or a
also
couple
speed
things.
traps.
Exactly. So I think we have to look at some of the criteria of hiring, because then it excludes a lot of other communities, cultures from being able to be police officers.
Absolutely.
So I just think that we have to look at why they're being excluded
A little forgiveness
to
would help.
change the practice. So that's why I look at that.
All right. So at some point along the way, you actually retired from police work,
That's
right?
correct.
Okay. And then how long after that did you decide to run for office?
Right after, I got a phone call from some friends and said, listen, there's going to be a special election in District 7, up where you live at. And,
Why was it special?
well, what happened was Lisa Monteleone went to go run for state representative.
I see.
And it became a special election
Okay.
in 2016. And I was retiring in 2016. So they said, as soon as you retire, you need to get in that race and,
Okay.
and learn politics and learn about council and learn about how to do a run. So I
Okay.
got in that race with one of my colleagues today, Mr. Louis Vieira, Councilman Vieira. And
I see.
It was a great race. It was a bunch of us in that race. It was a great race. I learned a lot by running, especially how to raise money, how to engage people in a different perspective, and really listen to some of the things people want your politicians to do. So I lost.
And Louis Vieira won.
And Louis Vieira won.
And he's still on the council.
On the council, so we're like best friends from the. I mean, and what I can say about Mr. Vieira, he's always been a friend then and now.
Okay.
Because when it was over, he reached out, and we still were being friends that whole time.
Okay.
And then when my goal was to always run when Frank Reddick's time was up in District 5, where I'm born and raised at.
Okay.
So that opportunity came. I jumped in the District 5 race in 2019. I got in a runoff. I won the runoff election, and I'm in the.
Who did you have a runoff with?
Mr. Jeffrey Rhodes of.
Jeffrey Rhodes, okay, funeral director.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, so that was 2019.
Mhm.
You've been on the board since then, on
Yes.
the council.
Going into our third year will be this Thursday.
Okay. Congratulations to you.
Thank
Now, how is elected life for you?
To me, I don't see the difference of being a police officer myself, because for me, it's always people call
Serving
you.
the people.
People call you,
Mhm.
and you have to respond, and you have to give them answers, and you got to fix things.
Okay.
Sometimes in government, I can't fix them as fast, but I make sure that I get them in touch with the people and
That
make sure
can
I
help.
follow up, and then try to my best to do. I always tell people in the diocese, and a lot of my council members say it now, because I started this saying, don't ever tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of been the motto of our council now. Don't tell us what you can't do, but what can you do? A lot of times it can't be a perfect fix, but something's better than nothing to get the ball moving.
True. Now, who are you sitting on the city council with?
I sit on what I call the legend. That's Mr. Charlie Miranda. Everybody knows him.
I know.
He
How
is the
long's
legend.
Mr. Miranda been around?
Oh man, for decades. I mean decades. But I look to him for wisdom all the time. I mean, he has it.
He's the one who made it that you can run by petition. If you don't have the money, you can still run for office by getting your petition signed.
And I qualify by petition, by the way.
You did?
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I tell you, he's a very smart man. And everyone knows he's Charlie. And you pretty much know how Charlie's going to vote, because he's pretty strange to know how he's going to do things. And I like him a lot. And my good friend John Dingfelder, who we worked together in the school
And this
system.
is his second time, right?
John's had been on the council before. He's a whip. I mean, he reads everything and he dissects it all. I mean, you learn a lot. I've learned a lot from him, how to look at certain buzzwords, certain things in government. He's a great guy. Then we have Bill Carlson, first time elected as well, representing District 4, South Tampa area.
Okay.
Then, of course, you have Mr. Louis Vieira, and then you have Guido Maniscalco.
Okay.
We call him the young ones, but he's a great guy. He's a chairman now, and he's done a great job doing the COVID times, and he's
Okay.
been a great leader.
Is he citywide?
He's District 6. He has West Tampa, a portion
West
of
Tampa.
a portion of West
Okay.
Tampa.
All right. Believe it or not, we're close to the end of our first segment.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so we learned a lot about you. Now we're going to learn about what's going on in Tampa.
I hear you. A lot going on.
Tampa is not easy. Okay.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Call in and tell a friend to listen in.
Listen up.
It's In Touch Radio, reality radio.
Okay, we are back talking to, well, number one, you're listening to Tampa Bay Politics with Angela Birdsong, and our guest today is Councilman Orlando Gudes.
I love this music.
It's very
For the engineer, I love this
political. We have a great female engineer. Her name is Anna. She got the show rolling. Okay, so you know what? There's some things going on in the community. There's a lady named Connie Burton who mentions her name quite a bit. She's the president of the East Tampa CRA, and she seems to think that the money is not going in the right places that Orlando Gudes is spending.
Oh wow, really? I didn't know that. You know. Well, let's get the acronyms correct. Let's get the positions correct.
All right.
I am we have what we call the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'm the chairman of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
Okay.
So all city council members are there, but we take a different role when it comes to CRA. Then you have what we call a Community Advisory Committee. Again, it's a Community Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And Ms. Burton was elected through an election process as the chairwoman. She was elected to be on the board, and then she got elected to be the chairwoman for the CAC, which again is the Community Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And that board is a advisory committee only. They make recommendations that come from who I call the client. And the clients are the neighborhood associations, presidents, and members of the neighborhood.
I see. And there's quite a few neighborhood associations.
Quite a few in East Tampa. And then you have the business community,
Now, let's go over some of those neighborhoods that are represented there.
You have Jackson Heights, which is very strong. You have College Hill. You've got Rainbow Heights. You got Southeast Seminole Heights. You have VM Ybor. You have East Ybor. You have Hillsborough Heights. You have Grant Park. You have a lot of neighborhood associations. And
a lot of those areas are going through regentrification.
Somewhat. And we can get into that after I tell you about the process.
Okay.
Those neighborhood associations and those business owners, what's what we call tax incremental dollars, TIF dollars.
Okay.
And those dollars come from the city, the county, and the port. The tax dollars from the property owners and business property owners. That's where those dollars come from. So if you buy a soda, you buy some grass, you buy any of the products, those tax dollars do not go into this fund.
Okay.
This fund is merely come from tax property owners' money.
Okay.
And per the law,
And you either have to be a business or you have to be a homeowner.
that's correct. That's where
Okay.
that money comes from.
Okay.
So that money does not go into the city of Tampa's general fund. So that money is supposed to be utilized per the law to be able to do redevelopment and infrastructure improvements for that community. And then that community tells the CAC, which is the Community Advisory Committee, what they want in their neighborhood and how they want to spend their money.
Okay.
And now the Community Advisory Committee, they analyze it, staff, and they put that all together, and then they submit that proposal, whatever, to me, the CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency, and then my board then approves or disapproves the project, depending on what it is and the circumstances.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Connie is a great activist for our community, and she brings a lot of good points at times. But it's like anything, when I became a city councilor, I had to learn the process.
Yes.
I had
There's
to
a
learn.
lot to learn.
Lot.
Especially in a city the size of Tampa.
You better believe it. So you have to learn the process and learn how it works. So I think now, Ms. Burton, I think she's kind of getting the idea of how it's supposed to work, because I believe her intentions were good, because she believed, I'm helping the people. Yes. But you have to understand, some of the people, that money is not all the people's money. That money comes directly from property owners' money in that particular fund. And they have the right to say what they want done with their money because it's their money, and they want their neighborhoods clean. They want the roundabouts. They want nice things in their community.
They want those roundabouts,
They want
huh?
them. Back before I was a council member, the neighborhood associations, they're the ones who put on the agenda to get roundabouts.
Really?
They love them. They wanted them. Those neighborhoods wanted them because they wanted beautification in their neighborhood. Roundabouts bring on beautification in neighborhoods.
They do?
They do. You look at some of the other areas. You look at some of the suburban areas. They all have roundabouts. They have roundabouts.
Okay.
And they wanted them. And so the deal was the FDOT came in because they were going to clean up 34th Street, and FDOT paid for that to be done. Then what happened was FDOT said for the beautification purposes,
Okay.
will the CRA use dollars to do the beautification of flowers or any type of murals in those roundabouts? Well, at that particular time, the board, at that particular time, and the neighborhood association said that's what they wanted.
Oh, I see.
So now, when I became chairman, it became an issue. Stop the roundabouts. Why can't stop a project that's already been done and going down the road? And then, furthermore, the business owners on 34th Street, the business owners, sold their property, their right-of-ways to FDOT in the city to be able to do the roundabouts and redevelop
gosh.
34th Street. So how can I, the new councilman, come in when these
say,
folks
"Stop it."
Say, stop. I can't do that when the property owners, again, the business owners sold their property to have this done. And that's how the roundabouts came about. The project is almost completed. So you have to know the facts. People can talk, but you have to get the facts. And I brought the facts out when I got on city council asking who was involved in this. And I asked Ms. Jean Duncan at the time, how did we obtain this property? And she's so totally on camera, the property owners and the business owners on 34th Street wanted to sell their property for the project.
Okay.
Period.
Now, Connie doesn't seem to think that beautification should be the number one thing the money is spent on.
Well, I tell you what, when people tell me, Councilman, we want a grocery store. We want Applebee's. We want this and that. But you know what those people tell me?
What?
You got to clean your neighborhood up.
Oh, I see.
We want Publix. Well, Publix won't come because Publix says you got to clean your neighborhood up, and Publix says that.
Does clean also mean safe?
Oh yeah, clean, safe, looking good. You got to kind of clean the place up.
Right.
So I got to clean the place up. I got to make sure that these lots are mowed. These houses that are condemned to have that have squatters, people living in, get them boarded up. There's a lot of work that has to be done to clean up our neighborhood. That's why I focus so much on rehab. I've been talking about that from day one when I got in office. I had a housing symposium, if you recall, at Young Middle Magnet School.
Okay.
Talking about housing, talking about rehab. Rehab has to be the number one goal in East Tampa and throughout the city and some of our marginalized communities. My thing is that the city's current rehab program doesn't really work for everybody because the requirements are so stringent.
Okay, so when we're talking about rehab, someone has a house, it's dilapidated. It needs work. They can't afford it.
That's rehab.
That's rehab.
That's
they can go
rehab.
to the city of Tampa.
Go to the city of Tampa
and
can
say,
apply.
I need money to rehab my house.
There's a process. They can apply. The criteria is very stringent. I found out. I talk about that all the time.
They're going to ask you 20 questions. They're going to say,
hey.
Have you ever been in bankruptcy?
They'll ask you a bunch of questions.
Yes.
But now there's a puzzle that now the CAC, the neighborhood association, is saying they want rehab done in the community. So now, because you have a pot of money, you now can take that pot of money in the CRA zone, which is East Tampa, and now have your own criteria or whatever, and now take some of that money and start doing rehab in those communities, which I've been saying, and I've already instructed the director, Ms. Van Loon, to get a specialized person who deals strictly only with East Tampa to deal with the East Tampa issues of housing and rehab. So we've been working on that. So you have to understand the process to get the ball rolling.
Okay. So rehab is one issue because you have people who are in their homes and the homes are falling down. Then you got the people who need a home.
All right, now let's talk about that.
Okay.
Now, I talked to first when I came on city council, I talked about communication. The chief of staff is doing a great job now to try to boost up the communication systems in all throughout the city, so people can know about the programs the city does have. City does have a lot of programs, but a lot of people don't know about those programs.
That is true.
A lot of programs, and so you can get money get into those first home time programs to get up
So
closer.
first time home buyer,
First time home buyer.
and they can get down payment assistance. Okay.
Or the CRA in East Tampa also has home buyer money that you can get some of that money. So you can get up to probably about $80,000 in home assistance.
Are you saying 80?
80.
Wow.
The CRA can get about 50,000. The city can get about 30,000. That's $80,000 possible you can be granted
if you want to live in the city of Tampa.
if you want to live in East Tampa. But the East Tampa money, you only can get that money if you live in East Tampa from the
Okay.
CRA money.
Okay.
But in the CRA money, I've told them can develop their own, what they did, develop their own criteria, which is not as stringent. And that way you'll be able to do
To
those
get
things.
more
So now people say, well,
involved.
the housing cost is so much, it's so much. Well, if you go and you be a part of those programs, you can take that down payment money. You may not qualify for all the 80,
Right.
but you may be able to get a substantial amount to be able to qualify, get that money, put on a down payment on a house. Your down payment mortgage goes down. Now you can afford to live in that house.
True.
And then people have to understand, you have to have mixed income living in East Tampa. You cannot just say we want to have these and houses are so expensive now. You're not going to get a $60,000, $70,000 house built. That ain't happening.
Right.
That's not happening this day and age.
We're talking more like 200-300 minimum.
So now you have to look at these programs to be able to help those who might not be making that high level job to be able to get them into those houses. And that's what we have to do. It's hard, but I can't change that rule. I can't change the housing market. I don't have that power to do, you know? So all I can do is try to make sure we can have some programs developed to help those at that bottom tier to be able to be homeowners, and be able to get into a nice place. But you got to have mixed level income in the community to change the dynamics of a community. You can't just say we want to be a poor community and just have substandard housing or have these low market housing, because it just continues to bring on blight. But you say you want to look like other communities. Well, to look like other communities, we got to do other things to change that paradigm and look like other communities.
That's right. And the thing is, I think the people are just so frustrated because they cannot afford to live.
Well, I made a motion a couple of weeks ago in reference. I wanted to know what the city's policy was. I wanted to know the difference between use this word affordable housing.
Yes.
I can't stand that word. I can't stand it because your affordable, her affordable, my affordable are all different affordables.
Right.
But you loop this one word affordable. Then you come in and you say, no, it's workforce housing, Councilman, workforce. Well, tell me what workforce is. Oh, it's your fireman, your school teacher, your nurse. Those folks can afford a house. They can afford a house.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, and most of those people are married. So don't tell me that's workforce.
So then they have two incomes.
So don't tell me that. Now, the custodian maybe, the aide or the D's attendant, the person at Walmart. So that's why I asked them to define what that is. I want to know what I don't like that word low income. We need to change that paradigm. It needs to be something like essential worker.
Yes.
Essential housing. If you make $40,000 a year, Angela, and I make $39,000, but I don't get my raise for another 2 years, well, I'm lumped down way down here, but I'm not really low income. I'm just in a category that I'm lumped in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to look at what is essential housing is, what is essential worker, what is a workforce worker, and what is a workforce housing. You have to define those two definitions, and I think now we'll get a clear road of where we need to be to help people.
And the developers just don't want to build for essential workers. That's the whole thing. They're not trying to.
I had a guy
have
come
new
in.
Units.
Councilman, I got a great plan. Workforce housing. Oh, yeah, what is that? He goes to explain. I said, what do you mean that is not workforce? Well, I got 220 something units, but I'm gonna do 20 of gonna be affordable. 20 out of 220. I just shake my head.
I know, because the people cannot afford to live.
Now I will say, again, people were talking about the project on 37th and Hillsborough that you see it's going up. Oh, we see a
Okay.
crane, and we need that. That is going to be essential for our senior citizens.
I see.
That's going to be a great
That's another.
That's going to be a
market.
great project.
Okay.
I spoke to the developer personally because I was getting so many phone calls. You're going to move people. No, they're not. They're going to be able to help people in our community. There's a list. They're going to be able to get them in there. Those
How
apartments.
many units? Do you know?
I can't remember the number of units, but
Okay.
I know that one bedroom or studio is going to be like 400 something bucks, 500
Oh,
bucks.
wonderful.
2 bedrooms going to be something like 600 or 700 bucks, something like that. So it's affordable in that category for those seniors, which who need that.
Yes.
So it's going to be a great project. The amenities are going to be beautiful there. I've seen the design. I then had made a call to State Women of the Dying Heart and said, you need to get this gentleman on your show and let him explain the project to the people. She had him on the show. He explained the project.
Okay. All right. We'll be back in a minute.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio. We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/hereforyou.
All right, we are back having a conversation with Councilman Orlando Gudes. So happy he took the time. Now, people not need to be able to afford to pay for homes. They need good paying jobs, and we want to talk about apprenticeships.
Right up my alley.
Okay, so I've been hearing that the City Council and the Board of County Commission want the developers to give them to have a program with union apprenticeships. Now, can you tell me what's going on with that?
We had some of the, I think it's the Tampa Bay Builders Association. They were really fighting us on those issues about apprenticeship program. They thought that we were somehow was going to just take over some way or somehow. And I'm like, this is great for everybody to have everybody being knowledgeable in a skill.
Yes.
I always say the school system failed us. And they failed us because they brought in this magnet concept. Everybody ain't going to college. So you take away all these programs in the schools, but people are still building. You still need a plumber. You still need an electrician. You still need certain essential stuff to live every day. And people still...
There's a guy named Reeves Plumbing. He learned in high school.
You're still... And I went to Tampa Bay Tech. So I know all about my friends who do refrigeration.
Yes.
I mean, welding, AC work. You need...
Woodworking.
You need these jobs, these folks in these positions to do work. They pay well. My nephew's a painter now.
And you can become an entrepreneur.
Oh, my nephew, he was a perfect example. Painted my mom's house. I saw it one day. Who did that? Your nephew? Come paint my house. He's painted several of my friends, school teachers, principals' houses. He's got his own little business going on now.
Yes.
Now he makes a killing now just painting houses every week. So there is an opportunity. I talked about that again with our CRA in East Tampa. I said we needed to develop a rehab program. Those guys, I call those guys the tree guys. The guys hang out under the tree.
They hang out where?
Under the tree. Those are my friends that hang out under the tree all day long.
They have nothing to do.
Nothing to do, or they can't get a job because of their background.
I see.
Because of their background. So now let's see if we could have some outsourced work to where we say we have a rehab program, and now we look at some of these nonprofits who could probably hire these folks. Say, okay, you hire these folks, get your builders, whoever, what are you doing, rehab, whatever. And now you get those folks underneath the tree. Now you can pay those guys to start learning a skill. The light's gonna come on from somebody. I can do this.
Yes.
I can paint. I can weld. I can do this.
And guess what? If you work for yourself, you don't have to go through a background check.
Your own business. So Tallahassee tries to always intervene in local politics.
Okay, what is Tallahassee saying about apprenticeships?
They want to try to get a home rule about apprenticeships. Anything that cities and counties say that's going to help the people sometimes. You have the big money people come and say, hey, pump the brakes. We can't do that. They're going to stop us from making money. We got to go get to our.
I just
we gotta
don't
go get to our legislation
understand.
and stop this. So we got to go. We got to go lobby these guys to stop it.
I do not understand what their problem is in Tallahassee with apprenticeships.
You have to understand the mindset of people. If people become educated or people have money, they become powerful. Their mind change, especially those in marginalized communities, because it's what I call a poverty mentality sometimes. So now if I educate them, or they become educated, or now they have money that now they can do things with, change their mindset, believe in voting now, go vote. Well,
All of a sudden, you have African American elected officials when black people vote.
Hey, you have people that have a mindset of doing for people and not just doing for money changes.
That's true.
And now you're going to hurt our pockets now. If all these people become educated or all can do these things, that could be a problem. That could be a problem now. If now you know that you hanging on the tree ain't a good thing, and hey, I'm doing this. I'm being a businessman. Now I'm going to probably pull some other friends of mine to pull up. They believe in me. I did it. So I'm gonna go see O. O did. I'm gonna see if O can help me out. That's how the world works.
Yes.
That's what I tell people. People don't like being around a fool. They don't. But that's all they know, all they have. But until somebody breaks the chain, or somebody comes into the circle and say, man, you guys are fools. I do this right, I do this legal, I do this here. And now somebody said, well, they ain't gonna say it around the fools, they're gonna wait and hey, do you
Now,
think I get
could it be that they don't want black people or brown people in the union to get those union jobs?
It could be all kind of things. I mean, we know racism exists. That ain't, that's just the way it is.
I'm trying to figure out why is Tallahassee trying to stop apprenticeships? And they're trying to stop it on the city council. They're trying to stop it at Hillsborough County Board of Commission. What? I'm flabbergasted over it.
Somebody always wants to be king. So if I have a bunch of kings, who's in charge? Somebody always wants to be in charge. Everybody can't be in charge. That's why you have to pick your leaders, because some leaders don't want anybody else to lead.
And I guess we're learning with what's going on in Tallahassee with voter suppression.
That's a joke.
With a riot bill, they can run protesters over with cars now and get away with it. Slap some felony charges on protesters.
Okay, so those people who are protesting are usually marginalized people.
That's right.
So they can't vote if they have a felony.
That's right. A lot of things they can't do if they have a felony.
No, I don't believe in burning down buildings. I don't believe in harming other people when you're protesting. I believe in peaceful protesting.
Yes.
I believe you can get out there, rah, rah, rah. I don't believe in throwing bottles, hitting somebody in the head, because that could hit somebody else.
Right.
So I don't believe in that type of violence. But I do believe of good protesting about what you want action about, being in front of a courthouse, being in front of my building, whatever. I have no problem. You have the right to express your opinion at that particular time if you're upset about something. Now, we can agree to disagree.
Well, the governor says if it's 3 or more, it could be a riot.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I mean,
and you can get charged with a felony.
I've been in riots. I don't know about that. He ain't never been in a riot. I don't think he's ever been in a riot, but I mean, I've been in a riot before, so I don't know. But I'm just telling you, some of that is wrong. But that's just to suppress the people. Whenever you suppress people, other people stay on top, and you have to understand how politics works. You understand how other communities work. You have to look at the last president we had. You get a lot of this NIMBY symbolizations. Not in my backyard. You don't want this, you don't want that. So again, you have to look the way things are and hope that you can get people in office. But again, I had a guy the other day talking about voting. And what I tell people, if black people go vote, you can win. But if you don't go vote and you complain, I don't want to hear you talk to me.
That's true.
Don't come near me.
As a matter of fact, when is your next election?
2023.
23. Okay. Now, you know what? I find a lot of people, they vote during the presidential, but they do not vote during midterms.
They don't understand. The local is more important than anything. But again, I tell people, don't you complain about the disease if you don't want the cure. So if you're complaining, the first question I ask you, did you vote? And when you tell me no, I turn my back and walk away because you are part of the problem.
Now, if Tallahassee is trying to make it harder for you to vote, especially by mail and by ballot drop boxes, there must be a reason why they don't want black and brown people to vote.
I don't care what the reason is. If you go,
they can't
and
win.
If you go and take your time, because you got several days, 14 days, you have to go vote. So there's no reason why you could tell me why you couldn't take the time to vote. You have it on the weekends. So I don't care how busy you are, you can stop in at the library or fill out a ballot that comes to your house and send it back. So to me, there's no excuse not to vote.
Now, what's going to happen is everybody who wants to vote is going to have to really understand all the new voting changes, because if you voted by mail, they're going to knock you off the rolls the second year, and you got to apply again for your voting ballot. So they know they're going to lose some people.
We have to keep educating.
We have to keep educating our voters.
Keep educating the voters.
Because a lot of black and brown people voted by mail. They don't like that. And DeSantis only won by less than 1%. So he's just trying to shave a few points off.
If you want change, you got to do what you have to do to make change. You can't talk about it. You've got to be involved to make the change. You can talk all day long. That ain't going to change nothing. But if you're involved, you're volunteering.
Yes.
If you're being engaged and bringing other people, say, hey, come with me. Let me give you this experience.
And you know what? We have a Democratic Party meeting every month, and we don't have any black people. Very few black people show up, and they got the votes.
But I've been there. You've been there.
Yes.
You know the culture. Let's be real.
You know what we need is a whole lot of black folks to show up, and we can change the culture.
So, but again, those that are empowered now have to also change now the culture, and they also need to be going out bringing.
Well, you know what? We do have a Democratic Black Caucus, and we're working. But you're going to be seeing more Democratic black folks in your neighborhood, door knocking. So let them in and tell your friends that they need to make sure everything is right with their voting status.
When election time comes, I make sure I call every one of my family members. Did you go vote yet? Did you go vote? That's what
Everybody got to do that.
What you have to do. Everyone who knows about the process, you be calling every person in their phone, family members, did you go vote? And call them every day till you say, yeah, I went.
And I'm telling you, we got a lot of felons out there. They can get their fees paid.
True.
And they can vote. Hey, Anna, do you have a question?
I got a question.
Hey, we got a question from our engineer.
Is paying taxes the equivalent of voting? Because if I don't want to vote but I pay taxes, do I still not have a say-so?
You have a say-so till you press the ballot box. You have a say-so per se, paying taxes to your local and express your opinion.
Okay.
But paying taxes and voting, pressing the box, it's your hand to go to the box.
But is it the vote that helps build things, or is it dollars that helps build things?
Well, the vote builds it because the vote has those people at the table who's going to vote those issues in. Or
but what are they going to use to build? What are they going to use?
Money.
Okay. I just
but you see, the thing is, the people who are elected decide where the money goes.
But I decide to pay the money.
Yes, right? But if you
why
can't
in
we
Tallahassee, be on the same page on that?
It doesn't work that way.
But why can't we make it work that way?
You can pay money to whatever, but what I'm saying is the bottom line is you have to elect somebody to be your voice. So if you don't vote and you vote somebody and you don't vote, who don't speak what you're speaking, how you gonna get what you want? But who's gonna advocate for you?
I think everybody is speaking in green, though.
You know what? They have people who actually pay politicians to vote with how they want them to vote.
It's called lobbyists.
But that's money.
That is money.
It's money.
Okay.
I get what I get what you're trying to rationalize with it, but it doesn't equate to the actual facts.
It doesn't equate to the actual facts, but it has a lot to do with the actual facts.
Money has facts to do with everything. Okay. But the mere fact to be able to secure your money to where you want your money to go, you got to have somebody pushing that issue to get your voice heard. That's why you have a legislative body. But you have a supermajority of Republicans in the legislature. So you have all these Democrats fighting for your issue that you might have voted for, but they're outnumbered. So no matter what they push for, it ain't going to get passed because they don't want it.
And look, you know what they did? They had 3 ghost candidates in the Florida Senate races.
But they paid for that, though, right?
And they paid those people money just to jump in the race with similar names.
So it's not just the vote; it's the vote and the
It's vote.
monetary power behind the vote. Because we can vote, but if we don't have any money to pay our politicians to go in the direction that we want,
you can outvote. You know who outvoted them? Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
She proved that you can outvote them
without the money.
Because the thing is, she got the people mobilized, and that's what we need to do in Florida. We need to mobilize our voters.
We need to get her book,
and so we can outvote the money.
We need to get her book.
Are we going to break now? We're going to break. She's multitasking. She's asking questions and running the board too. Here goes the music. All right, we'll be.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, we are back for our last segment already.
Oh wow!
With Tampa Bay politics, and yes, with City Councilman Orlando Gudes representing Tampa, Florida. What district?
5. Everything happens in 5. 5's alive. Everything's
okay,
happening.
where is 5?
5 starts at the southern portion of Bush Boulevard, which is Sulphur Springs, goes all the way down to Channel Side, back into Channel Side. So I have all the way to the east, Grant Park. So I have Grant Park area. I've got Channel Side. I've got downtown.
I've got downtown.
I've got a portion of West Tampa. I have Tampa Heights. I have all of East Tampa. My district, everyone knows, even though all my council members know, my district is the busiest district. I have the most diverse district. So even though people know we have challenges, I always tell them the fire has been lit in some of the other areas. I've got to light the fire in the middle. That's what I call the donut, to fill the middle, to get that moving. So that's the challenge in 5. But we got a lot of development, a lot of the housing that's going on. People talk about gentrification. But most of the housing that's been built in East Tampa, almost maybe 95% of the people in those houses are black.
Really?
Oh, yes, they are. Almost 5% of those houses that have been built, new homes in East Tampa, black folks live in them.
Now, are you including in that the affordable housing that was built downtown?
No, I'm just talking about East Tampa per se. I'm talking when people talk about when you say gentrification. So downtown is different than Channel Side in an area in Tampa Heights. But when you look at the middle core, where people talked about housing,
yes,
and talked about gentrified communities, 95%, I would say maybe higher, of those houses that were built, black people live in them.
Well, that's good news.
It's right there. They own them. If you notice, on my Facebook page, I go around every Saturday looking at the new houses that have been built and taking photos of those houses and the folks that are living in them.
Okay.
I go around and look at all the dilapidated buildings in East Tampa and notify CRA director and some of our real estate department saying we need to be buying these properties. And that's what the CAC and the Neighborhood Association want. Well, the Neighborhood Association wants to start buying property. That is a part of the CRA, is to buy and immobilize property for redevelopment. You look at 29th and Lake. That stuff is dilapidated. I take pictures of that every week. It just makes me cry. We should be
Yes.
buying all of that property, buying up the property on 22nd Street that should have been bought years ago when they redid Belmont Heights Estates. And now that's why you have the issue of this side of 22nd versus that side of 22nd. We have to buy property with the CRA dollars, period. And when you buy that, you then control the land. You then can say what development you want and tell those developers, listen, this is my property, we own it. You can land bank, whatever you want to do, but it's my property. This is what I want to see built. And now you build it.
Absolutely.
But you have to
Ownership
know,
is the key.
You have to know the process, and that's the problem with our community. Sometimes we don't know the process, but we'll get out there and raise holy heck and say all these negative things, but you don't know how the process works. I can't do everything. I can try to lead us there, but I have to help on the end. And when people just bashing me, I don't take it personally. I just say I try to educate them. Like these shows like this, educate people to the process.
Yes.
And when you know the process, you can help me better. The neighborhood association, when they call me, they got my back and say, we understand, we're behind you. Or I call them and say, listen, this is the issue. We understand it. I meet with them. We got it. We got you. They go because they understand what has to be done. We have to get out of this mindset of this poor poverty mindset. We got to get out of a new mindset of we can do anything, we can make anything happen, but we've got to know the process of government to make things move.
You know what? There's a lot of cities who are making some headway with that by buying up the property. Because if you own it, then you can say you control how it becomes developed.
You control it.
Now, if somebody wants to get hold of Councilman Gudes, how do they do that?
813-274-8189. If Sonia, who's my aide, doesn't answer the phone on that voicemail, has our email address that you can email us, because she checks that email constantly because it comes right up on her city phone or whatever, all these devices she has, so we'll see it and respond. So we get a lot of phone calls.
I'm sure you do.
A lot, my district, because I got everybody. You can contact us at orlando.gudes, Gudes, at tampagov.net, or sonia.henderson@tampagov.net. Again, orlando.gudes, Gudes, at tampagov.net, or sonia.henderson@tampagov.net. 813-274-8189.
And the good news is that all the city councilmen are online. I mean, it's pretty easy to find you guys.
Pretty easy,
Easy. And contact them. But you know what? If you need assistance, let your city councilman know.
Correct.
Because they might, like we just discussed today, there's programs out there for you. You may not know.
There's nobody that can say that they contacted my office and we didn't find a way to make something happen.
Okay.
I don't know your situation if you don't let me know.
True.
You can't go out there and blast me and talk noise. If I don't know your situation, you haven't called my office.
Yes.
So if you call me, we're going to find a way to make things happen. It may not be perfect, but we're going to find a way to make some kind of solution to get something going on.
And this is the wonderful thing when you vote and you have someone in office who is willing to help you.
Things happen.
Things happen. Now, you know what? We're going to have another election, 22. Who's going to be up for election then?
Well, city council, nobody.
Okay, so there's no city councilman.
Nobody
So,
city
but you
council.
will be able to vote for your board or county commission.
Yes, I think they're all
You
up.
will have your governor.
Yes.
And you're going to have some state reps, some state reps. Please do not ignore the election that's coming up in 22. It's very important.
Very vital.
We're going to have primaries. The primaries are so important because a good person may not get through the primary if you don't vote for them.
Correct.
We have great people get knocked out in the primary.
Governor race is going to be very, very crucial.
The
this time around.
governor's race is coming up. Who is governor? Who's going to be our governor? Now, Val Demings might jump in. Charlie Chris is in.
I know her and her husband very personal. I know Charlie too, but I know Val, her husband, they're very strong over in Orlando on that I-4 corridor. They're very strong in that corridor.
Okay.
Her husband's the mayor, first black mayor, I believe, over in Orlando area. He's the mayor over there. He was the elected sheriff at one point as well.
And she's got a long history in law enforcement.
Yes.
I think she did 30 years. Yeah. Chief of police in Orlando.
That's correct.
Val Demings, and she is one of our Florida Democratic Black Caucus members.
Have you ever seen her in Washington? She gives them hell.
She gives them hell wherever she goes. We love Val. So we're going to have some strong candidates. Nikki Fried is probably going to jump in.
Probably so.
Probably so. So
let me pack. It's going to be packed Democratic
It's
race.
going to be packed, that Democratic race. So you got people to choose from. I think they all have a heart for the people. So I'm not a DeSantis fan. I have to say that. And I do not like what they're doing up in Tallahassee because it is affecting our local government.
It truly is.
What are some, besides apprenticeship, haven't they stepped in stuff like trees and environment?
Tree ordinance, environment, probably the development community as well. A lot of different areas that they want to put a hold on local government.
So what happens is you guys vote on things, and then what happens?
The affected parties get lobbyists, and they go to Tallahassee and they lobby those folks and those Republicans in Tallahassee, and they then come back in committees and bring it out of committees, and then goes to another committee, and then they vote on it, and governor then signs it.
So have they been able to overturn some issues that you were working on?
I haven't looked at all the bills yet because they're just coming through. He's just starting to sign some stuff, so I haven't looked at all of them yet.
So what happens is the local government could vote and make a decision, but then they get to Tallahassee and they could have a bill that overrules it. Is that it? I see.
Correct.
I see. So we got to really be careful about who we vote for those state reps.
Absolutely.
Wow. I mean, this Tallahassee situation is really, really getting on.
And they have a super majority.
They have a super majority. And, they were behind. They're behind what's going on with the school board.
They should not be interjecting in local business like that. I think they should be out of that local business arena. But, again, it all happens up there.
Wow. And, the Board of County Commission is having problems with Tallahassee too.
Everybody's having problems with Tallahassee. Everybody.
Everybody is having. I mean, it's a home rule. It's a very, very serious issue.
I think, again, it comes back to about money. I think that needs to be a money issue to get an initiative on the ballot to kind of stop that, and where the voters decide on that. I don't know the parameters around that, but I think that's something you got a future.
But what all for transportation? We put it on the ballot. The people voted, and they stopped it from Tallahassee.
Yeah, but that could have been handled here locally, my belief, because the charter is clear and the state law is clear. You cannot have a lay board handle government money. That's the rule. So why are you fighting the rule? It should have been, okay, Commissioner White, you're right. So you guys control the money, but can you still have this board to tell you, or advise you where things should go, and then you guys vote on yay and nay?
Right.
So if you'd just told the guy he was right, you probably would have had our money by now, way back in the day. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
It happened in Sarasota, and that's where it started. An issue happened in Sarasota. So it was already on the books. It had already been ruled that no lay board could handle money. It had to be the local government. So you just needed to concede, he's right. Let the local board, county commissioners handle the money, get the money, and we move on. It's my opinion. I'm just a guy just look.
Well,
look at all
maybe
the
you
facts.
should go down there and handle that.
You can't handle it now. It's done. That's a dead issue now. It has to go back to I think county commission may try to put it on a referendum to get it back on the board to do what it need to do. But I just think that you hate to say when people were right, but unfortunately the guy was right. A layman board cannot handle money.
Okay.
And that's where your downfall was. Period.
It just seems like that could have been worked out so the people could have got their transportation dollars like you say.
That's what I say too. How can we just then say back off and concede to get the money? I don't care who's holding the money as long as we got the money. Why do I care if this layman was the county commission, the one who has control? The comptroller is still controlling the money, which is the clerk's office. People don't know that the clerk is really holding the money.
Okay. The clerk of the court.
Clerk of the court holds all the money. So what difference does it make? Who's holding the money? We got the money.
Yes. They're making it harder for referendums to be on the ballot now because we got the money, and they didn't like that.
Told you, it's all about power.
It's all about power.
Power.
Wow. Okay. Well, we are wrapping it up, and we are so thankful that City Councilman Gudes came by.
I appreciate it.
We learned a lot.
Love that music. Love that music.
Anna is our engineer. Listen to InTouchNews.com all week long because we have other shows and great music.
I hear it.
All right. See you next time.